All right, and welcome back, everybody. We have the Portland Materia Cup here. Once again, thank you for joining us. We are back from our little lunch break. Should have round 5 ready to go for you. 3 more rounds for today. Should be finishing everything up. I'm joined here with Kyle Peters.
Hey.
All right. And so here we do have 2 players. One we've already seen on stream, this is Carlos Ruiz. However, we are against Dustin Koo. Dustin on hot, steamy nights, as he calls it, but Firewater Nights. We see Gawain up in that top right corner. Definitely a big card for the deck. Effectively a 0 CP forward. Being able to kind of do whatever he can to help, smooth out that curve and consistency of that deck. Be interesting to see this deck. Now, we had that whole graphic up, a bunch of different decks that we had pegged for this event. We didn't have Firewater Knights up there. And here it is, round 5, undefeated.
Yeah, so what's going through my mind initially about this Firewater Knights deck is just a couple things. Like, is it a Garland-based deck? And if it is, maybe it's playing the new Garland because it's a pretty decent EX burst, and it's doing its best Ash impression. But also the Warp Ramza from Opus 18 is a powerful Fire Knight. So I'm very curious if we're going to see those kind of cards.
Yeah. So Opus 18 Ramza. I'm looking over the list. We have 3 of those. We have Demon. We have Garland, the brand new Garland from Opus 20. Agrius from Opus 13. Rosa Starter. So a big and 2 copies of Yuzuki. One of the things that I definitely am interested in is the fact that this deck is doing so well. I assume I've general vibe has been there's a lot of category 6 in the room. With a lot of category 6, I'm curious if he's already played against some, and if he could be favored in this matchup. So it'd be interesting to see how he's able to navigate this.
Yeah, we saw Carlos before on stream, and he seemed to know when to turn on the heat and to get in there. So I'm curious if we're going to see something similar, if we're going to let Dustin set up a little bit more, or if we're going to jam right now.
Yeah, and one of the things that I do find interesting is, I do mention that Opus 20 Garland, but he does also have 3 copies of the Opus 14 Garland, the Legend, with the special ability. I wonder how relevant that has been in a lot of the games today. That special breaking both a backup and a forward, potentially drawing a card. But the big thing is Garland can't take damage. So against this deck that, a large portion of the locked deck's removal is through that Sabin special ability. Being able to be, protected from that is very relevant. So I'm curious if he will get to the point where he will, be able to just kind of play that guy out and have a very safe forward. We do see Carlos. It looks like he discarded a card due to hand size there.
Interesting.
So didn't opt to play anything else yet. Just wanted to go ahead. May have just been a little bit of a misplay. Thought he had only 5 in hand.
I wonder if
actually had 6.
I wonder if he was fishing for a fire card. That could have been the case as well. So yeah, it's interesting that you bring up the Garland point. Things like Mono Fire could have an issue killing the Garland, the 4 CP Garland, and even this FF6 deck might have an issue. Now they can dual freeze it with Setzer, but they also have to have the Setzer, right? So and also some play the 7 CP Umaro, but the 4 CP Omaro doesn't answer the Garland either. So they're limited in their answers to it.
Correct. Yeah, and so Carlos's list in particular, remember he has the one of the Opus 4 locks, but none of the new lock, so that won't be able to deal with it. He's got a bunch of demons, but those don't quite take it down. He has an Opus 19 Umaro, but that of course is not the big Yeti that will be able to dunk stuff. So I'm not looking at any real ways of dealing with that Garland other than Setzer. Now, Setzer, of course, can still come down pretty easily, and party attacks are innumerable in the Cat 6 deck, so there's still answers, but I definitely like, a positioning where the Firewater Knights can, start pressuring the board and be kind of safe behind this Garland.
Yeah, like the Mog can also technically dual freeze it at damage 3, but it's also like that's just temporary. The Garland might be where you want to be. I mean, obviously specialing with it a bunch is big, but I'm kind of, if I had to pick a side, I want to see the Firewater Knights kind of go off here, because I haven't seen a deck like this go off, and I'm a big fan of that Fire Ramza.
Yeah, the thing I'm kind of interested in, like we were mentioning, is the fact that there is a lot of Category 6 in the room, and if Dustin is 4-0, that's I gotta assume he's played against some Cat 6 today. So I wonder how he's able to navigate this matchup. That being said, I love declared his targets. Carlos declared his targets for Edgar, but Dustin says nope. We're gonna make sure Amaterasu that first. Lock still triggers, but we're going to make sure Edgar doesn't get his stuff back. And kind of like what you were mentioning, Carlos knowing when to kind of turn the corner. Carlos, go ahead and applying pressure here. Just trying to get out forwards, running on just one backup.
Yeah, so a little tech card here in Dustin's list is we keep saying Setzer is the answer to Garland, but he has an answer to Setzer, and it's Sanctuary Keeper. He has a way to activate his forwards every single turn. So I'm feeling kind of I like this Firewater Knights deck. It's very interesting. It's taking an angle I haven't seen in a long time, and I think this is like you said, if it's FF6 in the room, we get to draw a card with that Ramza Burst or Agrius Burst.
Absolutely.
I think it might be a well-positioned deck.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely an interesting pick, and not one I would have really pegged anybody on, but Dustin making it look pretty good here. Ramza, Warp, tick down, gonna come in next turn. Being able to pull back any knight pretty much in the deck. Usually Agrius is pretty value play. And Agrius is quite good against the Cat 7 deck, Cat 6 deck, usually going to be able to find something to kill pretty cleanly, draw the card, and then continue to be a very large body, giving them a lot of trouble. That being said, Dustin is going to have to kind of turn the corner here, make sure he can do something to this board, and here comes that Garland, just like we mentioned. So we'll see if he can be safe hiding behind this Garland for a turn. But it does look like, if Carlos wants to, he can just party attack, dull freeze it, and get in.
Yeah, so I can't recall what the first and second card in Dustin's discard pile is, because this Rams is going to come into play soon and try to revive a knight. Right now I see a 6 CP Garland, a Ramza, and an Amaterasu. But if that Ramza is going to come into play and revive something, this could be a huge swing in Dustin's favor. So Carlos really needs to lock down Dustin as soon as possible.
Ooh, and speaking of lockdown, Dustin, here comes the Celeste, probably a follow-up party attack. Looks like the Celeste is going to get a discard. Looks like we're thinking real quick. So if I'm Carlos, I'm definitely making my opponent discard here. Gonna dull freeze 2 backups. I'm gonna dull freeze that forward when I attack.
Yes, I like that play a lot.
Gonna feel really good. You mentioned we need to kind of lock up Dustin before he starts, really applying pressure, but this is the way to do it. Of course, Locke still getting his value back. Celeste, being able to both discard, getting the dull freeze, getting, the draw card from the Locke. Locke really pulls his weight in these decks. And yep, here comes the party attack. Sets are gonna turn Garland sideways. And do we have a Celeste trigger? Yep, it looks like we're getting rid of the fire sources.
I think
we do still have
wrong, but I think there's
the
3
Moogle.
fire.
Yeah, I was about to say it looks like we still have the Moogle. So
Okay.
Yeah, I think we went Princess Sarah selfie. I think I would get that Moogle, but maybe it doesn't matter too much. Assuming Princess Sarah is on fire.
Okay, drawing a card again. These extra bursts to draw a card matter here. Every card is a big deal for Dustin right now.
Ooh, and Fiend come out. Okay. Going to slow down anything Dustin would be doing for... it looks like we may have Ramsey coming in and not pulling anything into play. This could be a disaster for Dustin. It'd be very unfortunate.
And there's a Garland in play, and he has a Garland in hand. So he can't play it because it was still frozen.
Yep, and we don't have that Sanctuary Keeper. This is a spot where that Sanctuary Keeper could be an absolute menace if he did have a Sanctuary Keeper, but does not look like he has it. No target for Ramza. If I'm Dustin, I'm thinking, how am I not dying next turn? This is a disastrous scenario here.
Yeah, he's shaking his head. He knows. Okay,
all right.
This can... What's this going to go get? Oh, Velia. Not exactly what we're looking for.
No. If I'm Dustin, I'm looking pretty dead. I know my opponent has, tons of other forwards they could potentially play. They have a Interceptor there as well. Single party attack and then 2 separate attacks. He's looking pretty dead. He does have an Amaterasu still in hand here. Could use that on the Celeste trigger.
There's a Fiend in play though.
Oh, there is a Fiend. Oh my lord. We may just be straight up locked out at the moment. Oh, and Carlos hitting one of his very few misses in the deck. Amaterasu, of course, being that miss. Locke will not get that card back. Downside of playing that card is that you can miss with it with Locke, but upside is that, sometimes you have an Amaterasu when your opponent doesn't expect it. Yep, and it looks like we're going to dull freeze the Ramza, and then we're going to come crashing in.
And it looks like Selfie and Princess Sarah also. Oh, there's a Fiend in play. Oh,
I think we have 2 Amaterasu's.
Oh,
yep.
Okay.
Yep. There goes the first Amaterasu, and here comes the second Amaterasu. So now the question is, which trigger are we Amaterasuing? Looks like Celeste.
Wait. What So
we played 2 double Amaterasu to get through the Fiend effect.
But no. Well, if you Amaterasu the Fiend should die, right?
Well,
I don't know. Or did the Fiend resolve and then you Amaterasu? Oh yeah, that he should have. Yeah, Amaterasu the Fiend trigger, right?
Yeah.
I think
so. The first one, the first one should have gone for the Celeste, and then the second one go for the Fiend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think he would have lived, right? Because he
He would
had.
have, yeah.
Yep.
But
Well,
I
no,
don't
his
know.
forward would still be gone, and he'd have what, 2 attacks, and he was at 5 already. I think he may have just been dead regardless. But obviously, going an important thing to remember is you can Amaterasu that fiend ability, so you could just go for that. Very relevant. Doesn't look like it would have made too much of a difference. Dustin got taken to a quick 07 here against Category 6. We're watching Carlos, really just kind of turn the corner on his opponents and just sweep up games.
Yeah, Carlos is he's running it down. He's doing really well.
Yeah, and we were told Carlos is a fairly new player to the game. It was great to see a new player at some of these top tables and really just kind of getting the hang of it and putting in the work. All right, and it does look like our players are going to give us a friendly game here. Obviously, our game did wrap up fairly quickly. But maybe we can get to see a little bit more out of this Fire Water Knights. All Dustin was able to do there was develop, and then by the time he was developed, he was dead. So hopefully we can see a little bit more. We do see that Sanctuary Keeper there, and like we mentioned, it's could be pretty helpful to keeping the deck alive.
Yeah, and I feel like Dustin had a pretty good start last game, and he didn't have every single little thing that he needed, but he had he could have had another knight in his discard pile for rounds that pull it back. He had the Garland that he wanted. He even had the S. Just the Dull Freeze from the FF6 deck was very valuable, and it's interesting because I do wonder what his matchups were this tournament, what Dustin's matchups were.
Yeah. Now we did see 2 Furians go to damage as well. No Gawains came out, no Beatrix. I do think Furion would help a lot in this matchup, just being able to potentially discard a fire, card and gain first strike in the combat situations, or discard a fire and a water card, get both effects. Losing 1 card to trade for almost any party attack. You gotta remember, first strike is very effective against party attacks, where you can, snipe away one of those party members before any of the damage is done. So if they're party attacking with 2 9Ks, and you discard a single fire water card with Furion, even if he got Dull Frozen, he'll untap, he'll have that first strike, he'll remove one of the fighters, and if the other one's only like an 8K, he still lives. So that would be pretty relevant in some of these situations. Gotta imagine Furion's another really big card he would like to see. You see him play Selfie, pitch a Garland, getting back at Garland. I do wonder if he wants to just go ahead and start getting the Garland active, though. Like, you gotta assume your opponent's going to play out a forward on this next turn. And so if he had already played out a Garland and had it ready and active, I think he'd be in a little bit better spot. It's not too scary against him. Like I mentioned, there's not really anything the Cat 6 deck can do other than Dull Freeze it. And he's got that Sanctuary Keeper in hand.
Yeah, I think his hand is 3 Garlands and a Sanctuary Keeper, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I would have rather that over the Selfie. I don't know if valuing the efficient play is more important at this stage.
Yeah, I see Carlos is curious. Ooh, hit a Garland Burst? Nice. That no longer has haste. Did he play it this turn? Yeah, okay. What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought with the EX Burst. Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because I agree with the Garland play. I'm trying to turn it on, but I mean, you are kind of an even cost of deck. The Furion being another forward that can't be like locked down with Dull Freeze is also pretty good. Like it's one of those things where I feel like, is Carlos ever actually going to block it? And then also, is Carlos ever going to attack into it? Uh, I mean, with party attacks, it's a lot easier to attack into it. But without party attacks, I when you have a full grip, it's kind of hard to attack into a Furion. All right.
Yeah, and here's the Mog 6. Mog 6, going to be able to pump his guys, be able to attack safely into that Garland. Whereas if we had already had Garland out and he was active, like we would have had 3 backups. We could have played Sanctuary Keeper, Garland S, Sanctuary Keeper untap, Garland S, and we could have just dealt with this board smooth as butter. I definitely think that maybe a spot where I would want to be at, but perhaps there's I don't know if we got reading or if we're dull freezing. I think we're just reading Garland. Yep.
Yeah, this is gonna be, I know he has a Sanctuary Keeper, but it's also a situation, so Sanctuary Keeper is going to allow the Garland to untap and special and get rid of Setzer. Okay, if it's a party attack here.
Yeah, and by kind of baiting out that party attack though is pretty good for Dustin, because he's taking 1 less damage. Anything that can buy him time.
I do think that if this is all that Carlos is doing, I mean, he has a full grip. I don't. He might have 6 cards. I don't know. Then if this isn't where Dustin wants to be, then I
don't think he ever wins this matchup. Yeah. I definitely agree. Yeah, I think this is exactly where he wants to be. I gotta assume he's feeling pretty good. Looks like he has a Demon and a Ramza in hand. Sanctuary Keeper, of course, coming out, just like we kind of assumed. We're probably going to go a combat here, untap. Now, do we go ahead and fire off the Garland? And if so, where? I gotta assume yes. Yep. But where?
So it's obviously Setzer, but what else?
Well, he doesn't pick the Setzer, does he? Can't remember. Thought they just sacrificed a backup.
I'll look that up right now. You might be right. Choose a forward, break it. Then your opponent selects 1 backup they control and puts it into the break zone. You were right.
Yeah, so he can't get rid of the Setzer for sure. Opponent is going to get rid of Gestalt Empire Sid. Obviously makes sense. He does get the card back, but he does have another Garland in hand. The question is, what's he going to do with the rest of his hand? It looks like we're debating not the Demon, but Agrius. So Agrius is interesting. He does have Princess, but he does not have Ovalia.
Correct.
Oh, looks like we're gonna change that. Luckily, we are in a friendly game, so we're. I think Dustin thought the Ovalia was out. That was last game, unfortunately. This game we do not have an Ovalia. Agrius not quite as juicy without an Ovalia out.
Yeah, I think
if I'm Dustin, I just want to play. I could just hard play a Ramza and get Agrius out at the same time. Feels okay.
Yeah, I could see that too. Have a board and it's hard to attack into.
Yep, and I mean, just buying some time seems okay. I gotta assume we're gonna kill off. So Locke is the one that took the bullet there, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. So instead, we're gonna go ahead and get Demon out. Question is, where does Demon go? He wants to kill all of this board. Edgar is a good target, but if Carlos has a backup Edgar in hand, it's the worst target. Strago is kind of a nothing answer. Getting rid of the Fiends, definitely not bad. I think that's either number 1 or number 2 on my list here. He could, assuming Carlos has 7 cards in the break zone, could shoot the Edgar and removes, the break zone as well. I think that might be a pretty good target.
I think that's the play, right? Oh, he's getting rid of the Mog. Okay.
Gonna get rid of the Mog. Yep.
Yeah, I like getting rid of the break zone. no matter how we're doing this.
Yeah.
And also, if people don't remember, Sanctuary Keeper triggers on both players' combats, so this Garland's going to get active again.
And we know he has another S in hand.
Yes. I think he has
So.
2 S's, actually.
Oh, goodness. We got 2 bullets. And the best part about these bullets is it's removing a forward, a backup, and drawing a card. So it's like 2 CP, not 0 CP. Remove a forward, a backup, and draw a card. This is definitely where Dustin. This is kind of what I expected out of the first game.
Yes. Now he's got to pay the initial, 4 for Garland and 3 for Sanctuary Keeper. But
yeah,
now there's a lot of cycling through cards. Demon. Okay, some demon on demon action here. But this is probably going to remove the break zone to get rid of demon because you can't target the Garland. I mean, you can, but it's not going to get rid of it. Or did it not get rid of anything? Oh, interesting. Okay.
Maybe he went after Garland and didn't know.
Maybe. Okay, attack with Strago. No, with this attack, I think it shot the demon for something less than 9. Is my guess.
Oh, and then was going to try to finish it off when it went to combat.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, did not get the chance.
Okay, we drew a Gawain. You know what that is? That's more Garlands. All right. I think. Are you being sold on this combo yet? This feels like a certain deck to me that I know you like. I think Carlos is going to run out of permanents in play. He can S twice right now if he wants to.
That's devastating.
Yeah. Does he have? I think he has 2.
Yeah, I mean, essentially setting your opponent literally back to the Stone Ages here.
And Rosa.
Oh, Rosa as well. So, I did notice the Rosa in the list. I was thinking more of Rosa for the pump, but the untap ability obviously being very relevant. We're going to draw our card. We're going to get rid of the backup. Probably going to go ahead and start firing this off. Demon coming in. Probably going to get rid of what we have. Strago and what's that last forward in play? Oh, Edgar. Yep. So there goes the Edgar. There goes the break. We're gonna get the. Oh, we started to resolve the wrong Strago. Different Strago this time.
Yeah. Well, this one bounces.
Yep. So we're gonna get rid of Demon.
I think they sell the top card, but friendly. So it's
yeah. And then we're gonna Rosa untap, and we're coming in for a damage.
Okay. I don't think. Yeah, I guess Dustin doesn't have another Garland. This is the kind of game that I was expecting to see from Dustin game 1. Unfortunately,
absolutely,
it happened in the friendly game, not in the tournament game.
Yeah, unfortunate for him, but definitely fortunate for Carlos.
Yeah.
Who will be moving on to being 5-0. This is still a very interesting game. I mean, it's definitely pretty much wrapped up at this point. Dustin just demonstrating the sheer value that his deck can generate, and I guess lack of value it can inflict upon the opponent. Carlos was at 4 backups and 4 forwards at play at one point in this game, right? And a full grip, and that is no longer the case.
Yeah. So, like, in game 1, I think that Dustin was very close to, having what he wanted, right? Like, he didn't have the knight. He didn't draw one of his many knights in his deck for Ramza to resurrect. But not just that, he didn't have very many ways to activate his forwards. So, like you said, Firion, Sanctuary Keeper, Rosa. I think from just watching this game, I think those are game changers in this deck. I think Like I'm convinced if he played just from this one game, if he played a lot of FF6, like he's turned the corner. How do they come back from this? I don't know if they do.
I'm Carlos, I don't think I do. I think I start picking up my cards and say, nice tech, buddy. Offer that handshake. But we're still in a friendly game. We're playing it out. We're seeing what happens.
Sanctuary Keeper putting in work like that. Yeah, I mean, I knew that card was good and limited. Yeah, wow.
I mean, if your opponent, well, so part of the trick here is our Garland's untargetable by all the damage stuff. So we get to dodge some of the damage, and then we're gonna go for the clean victory. We want our opponent to have 0 permanence in play. This is my style of deck right there for sure.
I think what happened is I think that Carlos, this is actually a learning. He learned something from this game, which is good too. In case they face later in the tournament, I think he Stragoest the Garland, which loses power, but then Rosa pumps it by 1k. So a lot of people forget the cheeky plus 1k. So that's valuable for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the Garland not being able to die to any of the damage, and then being able to get untapped through the Sanctuary Keeper, the Rosa, and just consistently apply out this S is a very interesting spot for a deck to be. Really glad Dustin showed up with this deck today, and a little sad he's moving down into a loser's bracket here. But X1 still, as we mentioned, very good for day 2. So even at X2, we have 11 out of 12 or 13 of the players will still make day 2 at X2. So be exciting to see if Dustin can manage to at least win one of his next 2 games, and he should be good to go for Top Cut tomorrow. And he is going to clean victory his opponent. 0 permanence in play, 7 damage on the board. What a different game than game 1. That's wild.
Wow. Look, Garland's a great card, and we all know Garland S is like very, very strong, right? But I'm blown away by this Sanctuary Keeper. Not the Garland. The Sanctuary Keeper against Ice seems extremely strong.
Yep.
Rosa obviously is good too, but Rosa being a forward makes it susceptible to removal.
And I mean, we've seen a lot of Ice in general. So, like round 1, we saw Ice Lightning. We've seen a reasonable amount of mono lightning, but then we've seen a lot of Cat 6. And we have someone in chat asking how are the standings looking. Cat 6, there is a good amount in the room, and it's pulling its weight so far. As for unfortunately we do have players on their Square Enix names, so we don't quite know everyone's name in comparison to what it looks like in the tournament bracket. But as far as we know, we do have a good number of Cat 6 at the top tables. So that is definitely one of the things that is shaken out.
Yeah, so there are, going into this round, there were 5 undefeateds. So coming out of it, there's going to be 2 or 3 left over. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, definitely a lot more Cat 6 than expected, from my eyes anyways. I just feel like I know Cat 6 is a deck, but also like everyone has different takes on it still, right? So are they all just good versions, or is there a best version? I don't know.
That's definitely an interesting thing to see, and especially with Cat 6 being so popular. What is going to be one of those decks that really can take advantage of all of those matchups. And I do think Dustin's list is one of those decks. However, a little bit of variance, a little bit of Carlos turning on the Jets on him, and he was not able to get that matchup. But I do think his deck has a reasonable matchup against the Cat 6 deck.
Yeah, I agree. And the Garland, while it's good against Cat 6, they do have outs to it. I'm a believer in those activate abilities. They wow. Okay, I'm looking at this list right now and trying to see this meta breakdown and see what like Rosa and Sanctuary Keeper would be good against, right? Like,
yeah,
it's interesting. I mean, it is basically just ice, but it's
like we were saying, there's a good amount of ice.
Yeah, it's not about like, okay, there's 18 decks here, right? Only like 4 of them have ice, I think. But it's about percentages in the room. Ice Earth is on here, but that's only 1 or 2 players probably. Ice Wind, same thing. But then you look at Cat 6, and it's, I don't know, how many players in the room on it? Maybe 15, 20? Something like that. Like, that's a huge percentage. So, and then not to mention Turks. So, it's interesting. There are also Dole effects in Lightning that, that maybe there's some main phase, like enter the battlefield Dole effects that can matter. And Rosa and Sanctuary Keeper are getting those as well. Not to mention, even just a plus 2k from the Sanctuary Keeper.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
just making
brave.
you. I mean, since combat is so relevant, now we're not blocking any Estinians, and we're probably not blocking too many Cat 13 boards they're getting out of hand. But most everything else is coming down to a reasonable amount of combat. Big one being all those Cat 6 forwards, and yeah, the plus 2k can let one of your guys trade up into some of these larger forwards, and or not just trade up, but actually just live through a pretty extended combat.
I did notice, we didn't see it in those games, but Dustin also had Belius the Gigas in his deck, and not only is that good,
go for demon, haste and Garland, and be able to pop off the Garland the same turn you play it.
Yeah, so here's something to think about too. And I know I was all on board with the activate abilities with Sanctuary Keeper and Rosa, but we were saying, how does FF6 remove Garland from play, right? And it's basically Big Yeti and that's it. Otherwise you have to Dole Freeze it. I mean, that can change, right? I mean, they can evolve their deck if Garland was a problem. But like, if that's just factual and Garland's hard to remove from the field, I mean, imagine if Yuzuki was in play, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well,
that
was another thing I was saying. He's got 2 copies of that in the Fire Wireless, so definitely a lot of very interesting medical options from Dustin's list, and I gotta assume he was very much like on the money with what the format's looking like.
I need to read Yuzuki. I know the water part is all damage. The fire part is damage by your opponent's abilities. Okay, I was curious if it was all abilities, because then demon wouldn't affect you, but it does. Like if you demoned on fire or demoned on water.
Oh, and you could save your own guys. Yeah, that would be a cute little combo, but
it would sometimes save your water forwards, but not your fire forwards. But yeah, I was curious about that. It's like, man, that's going deep, and that's pretty sweet. I love it. So, man, that's interesting. What a cool deck. I know there's some Knight players out there that probably enjoyed that round. Where's Arvin
absolutely. I know as soon as Garland was shown, or not Garland,
Ramza?
No, the Firewire one. It's Gawain.
Gawain. Yeah.
As soon as Gawain was shown, everybody was like very gung ho on some Knights. I think the card's very good. I just don't think we had all the support at the time. But Dustin coming in showing us, especially since that Ramza came out, really helps make the deck a little bit, more sturdy. But I also think this is just a really good meta call. So be excited to see him potentially make top cut. Hopefully we're gonna follow his journey as we go to day 2.
I do also think that. So I kind of mentioned this pre-tournament and at the beginning of the tournament. Like decks that can operate with low backups, like low amounts of backups in play. I think that Dustin's deck can definitely do that because he's mostly an even costed deck. If you just don't draw backups, you can just like warp Ramza or play Gawain and then go get like Beatrix and Garland. Like everything is an even costed card. Not everything, but 80% of the deck. And
which is a little interesting. We did see him
threatening.
play out to 4 backups every.
Yeah. I mean, I think you'd prefer to play backups, but it's one of those like the deck gets bonus points for when your deck gets screwed over, right? When you draw poorly, you can still play the game fairly efficiently still because you'd rather have backups in play, but the cards you play and the cards you search for are still threatening. So it's interesting. Awesome. I like that round.
Yeah, absolutely. That was an exciting one. Hopefully everybody at home enjoyed it as well. Round 6 we have coming up with 2 more rounds for us to finish out the day.
There's a very good chance that we see Carlos on day 2 as well because he's.
I think it's almost a lock.
Yeah,
at this point, I would not want to jinx this man, but
it's good to see him running it down pretty good.
Yeah, on one of his as a fairly newer player, doing well at the event. It's great to see. Hope he's having a good time. Looks like we can see everybody in that live cam having a good time. Some of these rounds, looks like most of the games are finished up at this point.
I see some familiar faces in there. Saw Jared on stream not too long ago. See Emmanuel. I think that's Ray. Pretty awesome stuff. I'm curious on. So we've seen a lot of FF6, but I'm also curious on like how accurate this this picture is towards the tournament, right? Like, I mean, here's a question: did anybody play Soiree, right? And if the answer is no, if there was actual 0 Soiree, I'd be pretty shocked, right? Because everybody loves their Soiree decks, right?
Yeah, I felt like we couldn't go to any event without seeing, at least like 10 Soiree decks at almost any given event. So potentially seeing 0 at this event so far is pretty crazy. But we from our eye in the sky, we've sussed out there is indeed a lot of category 6 at this event. So
people are moving. So I think the round's been paired. I think that's what it looks like.
Oh, yep.
And then, so here's the other thing too. Looking at this picture, like there's a Yuri on here. I mean, Garland does a decent Yuri impression, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, he doesn't get all the text,
right?
But he actually gets a different text that sometimes can be better. One of the cards we've seen all over the place today is Demon.
Yep.
And Garland doesn't die a demon, but Yuri still potentially could, especially in these Cat 6 decks where they're like playing Demon and then attacking with it the same turn.
Yes.
That kills out a Yuri if we're just picking Wind both times. Whereas Garland's just never worried about that. He is completely safe. So, doing a Yuri impression is one thing, but potentially being better. With the Ovalia backup, he's going to get the same pump that the Leo offers to Yuri. Clearly that S ability does something pretty substantial too.
And we're gonna have to update this graphic if Dustin wins, but
yeah, you're gonna slap a Garland right over the center of it.
I'm about to say which knight do you pick? Because
there's
Garland, a lot of good ones.
For sure. Nah, it's Garland. That's our boy. He carried him home right there.
No, you don't want a Sanctuary Keeper?
That one probably pulling its weight for sure. I don't know if you're much of a FF10 fan, but I definitely remember fighting against that boss back in FF10. Goodness, that guy was kind of a chore to chug through. He's got piles of HP. It was one of those bosses you just kind of comes out of left field. You don't really expect it around the corner, and then bam, he's there, and you're just wailing on it for what feels like an hour.
See, it's really interesting. If I were to let's just like hypothetically say knights were meta, right? And there are a lot more knights.
So
around.
knights are meta.
Like, I mean, just looking at this list, like if we theoretically just added knights on here, right? What is it bad against? The only thing I can see like actual bad is water, right? But like,
yeah, the cost reduction.
Earth?
Ash is obviously very good. We did see Leo. Leo would be very good. Oh, and speaking of Leo, we have Bradley Whaler back with us. Leo Gamer versus Alexander Early. Not quite sure what. It looks like another Mono Lightning player. So we do have our table 2 players here. Both of these players, I believe, are X1. So a win here should be putting them in a pretty good spot, but not necessarily guaranteeing them day 2.
Oh, it's Earth Lightning Scions, it looks like.
Oh, Earth Lightning Scions. Ooh,
Ignis.
This is exciting. I like this.
You know who I'm rooting for. But I will say, I you too?
I'll take Alex's side just to keep us balanced.
I will say, when I've been playing a lot of Lightning Water Scions, and deck's super fun, but Earth Lightning Scions was on my radar as well. So I'm very curious to see how Alex has built his deck, because there's a lot of card value here. Like, there's a lot, and it's also just like very interesting. Like, look, this miner is a category 14 standard unit. But, please hit. You need to hit, buddy. 2 more. It's any backup, right? So it's just Minfilia. Oh, he has Louis Wall. Sorry, I didn't see the first hit. Okay, so he gets Minfilia. I thought the first Louis Wall was another Eastola. I thought he hit 3 Eastolas there. So yeah, it's like really interesting, because you add Minfilia and you have the option to add stuff like Ida and Papa. What's his name?
Papalimo. Yeah.
Is it Papalimo? Okay.
Yeah.
It's been a while. And then there's also the Kryl 14 backup. So you have access to a lot more Scions, and then you can play Urianger a lot easier because you have backup Scions. So
yeah, and you
if
have
you want to go
lot of
route,
yeah.
Or
you could even play the EX Urianger, since you have so much Cat 14.
Yes. Yeah, so there's a lot of different routes you can go, and I couldn't figure out an exact 50 I liked, but there was just a lot of different things to do. So I'm very curious and interested to see what Alex has brought, because I guarantee you his deck is filled with really good cards.
All right, and yeah, Minfilia EX, 4 CP backup, getting to tutor, just adding a lot of consistency of the deck. Very interesting to see Earth Lightning Scions here.
All right, what do we? Okay, so we got all Earth backups.
Now the question is, how much pressure can we apply to this Leo deck? Before we saw the Leo deck struggle against Cat 6, mostly due to the off the back of the 3 CP lock, right?
Yeah.
And just putting out very early forwards. It's turn 2, and Alex doesn't have any forwards out. If I'm a Leo player, I like this.
Yes, I agree. And I also like that from the Leo side. So it's unfortunate about the breakdown being removed, right? It's going to be misdragoned eventually, but it's also not the end of the world, because like what you said, it's the same thing. I'm not losing the game. They're not attacking me. That's the most important thing. So from that perspective, a lot of times when you miss dragon, that's not your whole turn, but half a turn maybe. That
Yeah.
buys you time. So I think Bradley has a little clunky of a hand. I think he's gonna play a
Yeah.
Shinryu if I had to guess.
Definitely not a smooth one like we saw in his second game that he played on stream, where he had almost a perfect curve of Larsa into Thornton into whatever he wants. Looks like we're just gonna go ahead and pop Shinryu. I'd be a little interested if he's gonna grab Waka or if he's gonna go ahead and grab Thornton here.
I think those are the
Thornton
two
and then
picks.
be able to go get another thing. This is
He has
where
a Realm.
we're playing Shinryu in the list, but pre-ban we definitely wish that Shinryu was just Sildra here.
Yeah, exactly. Now there is the opposite side of that too, where if you're facing aggro, most of the time you'd probably rather have a Shinryu. But
Yeah,
in
that's
this
true.
case, Sildra would have been better. So we opted to get Thornton, and I bet Thornton's going to get a Waka here. I could see getting Larsa too, but it is gonna
I
be
like
one of
the
those two.
Larsa. So he has Thornton. He's played Thornton. If I'm on 3 backups, I do think I get the Waka. And it looks like we're gonna be on 3 backups. I think I'd prefer the Waka over the Larsa, just because it curves smoother for the next turn.
Mhm.
But the Larsa works pretty functionally similar, right? Maybe an extra layer of that is he discarded the Lena, so I don't think he has another 3-drop in hand.
I'm curious if Alex's hand is kind of wonky as well. I was curious if he was going to Shantoto this turn. Now he's going to miss Dragon. Because
Just gonna go ahead proactive Miss Dragon just to go ahead and draw a card. Yep, Shintotoing just for the Shinryu.
purple backup.
Obviously gonna feel really awkward.
Oh, but this is awkward too, right?
Oh
He
no!
works Astinian.
Yeah, so we're definitely not seeing either of these decks. Really, off to the races here. They are kind of playing with what they can. Bradley drawing another Larsa. Gonna go ahead. I think he's in a much better spot. The Leo deck being favored by, if both players are stumbling, the Leo getting more time is probably the better spot to be. And Drua Thancred, so these are pretty dud draws from Brad's side, but we're gonna go ahead and attack. Oh, I was just about to say this could be pretty bad if he ends up hitting an EX. Like an EX Minfilia there, especially would be really bad. Just smoothing out a lot of Alex's hand. But a Kusith is almost just as good, where he can just kind of get back whatever he wants. He's going to be staring down the Astinian, and I think both players are trying to make the most of their pretty mediocre draws here.
Yeah. So I'm curious if Alex bricks on this next draw, is he actually going to play the Ignis? That's a good question, because I mean, you lose a backup if you're gonna.
I think if I'm Alex,
greedy.
I think I do, due to the fact that I got 3 Earth backups already. I assume the Scions deck does not need that many
Okay,
Earth
there's a
backups.
Dragoon.
Okay, we have another backup too, so that helps. Yeah.
All right.
All right,
Attack
we're just
from
gonna go
Astinian.
ahead, pop in.
Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh. Leviathan and Fiend. All right. No. Very few hits in the Leo deck are anything you want to lose. Pretty much the whole deck is essential. The only thing that Brad wants to see in damage is either EXs or duplicates of backups he already has in play, like a Sarah or a Larsa. Instead, we are going to draw the Sarah. So it looks a little awkward again for the Leo player. And this is once again where no Sildra is making this deck just a little bit more bricky than it was previous. Now this is not good, but a line
I'm listening.
is Sahagin Sheaf our Shinryu to Shinryu again. I'm definitely saying it's not a good line, but it is a line.
I think
Because
So
the problem, the number we're missing here is 3.
3 and 1, yes.
Well, we have the realm for the
Okay.
one.
Oh, fake EX
Oh
first.
my goodness. Okay, yeah, as a fake EX first. I saw the EX in the top corner. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, Brad, no.
I think I think both players have a slow start. Oh, is he going to do it? If he discarded for it, I think he's going to do it. But I would. Oh, he's going to play Realm this turn. Okay, he's taking a different line here. So Chief will get 3 counters.
All 3 counters. Yep.
Yep. But I would have played a little more conservatively, personally, just because I think both players are playing kind of slow this game, right? Because they both have not the best draws. So in that scenario, you can just like chill, especially with Leo. I think you just play the card advantage route. I would have played 2 Sahuagin Chiefs and passed, and then just went with it. You take another damage from Estinian, that's fine. But the moment you draw, a 5 and a 3,
You're
you
online.
have 2 Chiefs in play. You're gonna go ham. You're gonna go crazy.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Unless we wanted to be very aggressive and very proactive and just pop off that Sahuagin Chief ASAP on my Shinryu and then replay it. I'm not saying this is a great line. I'm just saying it is a line.
Yeah, I can't read exactly what that dice, but there should be 3 counters. I think that's a 3.
Yeah.
It should be Realm, Kodov, and Sahuagin.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think I agree with your other line where it's just play Sahuagin Chief, pass turn. Say, as soon as I do draw something, you just wait. You just wait.
Yeah. I mean, there's also the option of when you do that, then Alex can't really be super aggressive, right? Because you could just bounce your Shinryu. Like if Alex played 2 more forwards, you can just bounce your Shinryu and then Shinryu for Shinryu and Tidal Wave,
Yep.
right? Like,
Yep.
It's still awkward. Make the awkward game more awkward, right? Like, there's a lot of play here in this game. It's a we're used to seeing some angry gamers in the first few rounds. This has been a bit more methodical, and it's interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we mentioned not being angry gamers. It's is also part of the downside of going for some of these slower deck, a little bit more synergistic strategies. Like things do have to line up. You have to draw some of the cards. This is why that Cat 6 deck I do think is fairly well favored, and obviously a pretty big favor in the room, where you don't have to draw. We've seen good, bad, mediocre Cat 6 draws, and they all kind of still have form and function.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is the exact scenario right here, right?
So
Bradley...
do we pop? Yeah, I think I'm popping Sahuagin. I'm bouncing.
You bounce both your forwards? That's the question, right?
So if we bounce both of our forwards, we are taking 3 damage.
2.
Or 2 damage. 2 damage.
Yes.
Yeah. I think
I think we're taking
1.
2 anyways, right? Because this is Tola. So okay, well maybe not because
we can
Ishtola's
chump
targeting
one or the other, right?
You can. So Ishtola's targeting Shinryu, I'm assuming, which is -12. If you chief one of the Scions, it's only -8. So there's that as well. So I mean, you don't want to bounce one.
Yeah,
of their
but
forwards,
then I don't want to end up blocking. All right, we're gonna see what Bradley's gonna decide to do. He's going to bounce his Shinryu. Is that it? I think that's
just
it.
one. Yep.
Okay, I actually do like this line. Yeah, and then we chump with our realm.
Yes, that's fine.
This feels good. Alex should activate his Y'shtola. Gonna come across for another point of damage. Actually get that point of damage, but this is kind of exactly what Brad wants. He's got the Shinryu in hand. Opponent has 3 forwards in play. He's got the Leo.
Yeah, so
my goodness, these are some
Brad
dud draws though.
Brad traded a card in his hand for a damage, and I think that's acceptable at this point of the game. I think it's totally reasonable for that to happen.
Yeah.
But
So
I think this is a
we
tidal wave turn.
Is that a tidal wave?
Oh, maybe it's not. If he's,
I don't think it is.
are you getting Waka here?
I'm getting Waka. I'm Leoing. I'm spinning the wheel. This is what gambling's all about. I want to hit a.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, we're down one Leviathan,
there
but
it is.
yes, this is what I want Brad to do. We're down one Leviathan, but that still means there are two Leviathans in the deck. So,
Sure.
I'm spinning the
Okay.
wheel, hoping I hit a Leviathan off of Leo. We also have a redraw with the Sahagin Chief, if we really need to. I would almost have bait like keeping that Luna Freya. Oh no, his last card in hand is the Leo. Ooh, this is unfortunate that Leviathan is gonna be going to the bottom of the deck.
It is.
Here.
Now, do you play Ash instead of Leo? Do you wait a turn?
Nah, I'm playing Leo.
I mean, you can play both, right? I think he has 3 cards.
Yeah.
Oh no, he has 1.
Well, he could Sahagin Chief.
Yeah.
But it looks like yes, we're Leoing.
There it is.
And this is how we know we are a skillful gamer.
This should be 2 counters. Yes.
This, I mean, soon to be 3 counters on Sahagin Chief, right?
Yes. This is definitely a 11-9.
Yeah, this is 11-9. We're bouncing it back up. We're blowing up this board. Now, what we bounce? What are we doing?
It's a good question.
Almost certainly bounce the Dragoon back up, right? I think that's the
I think
play.
so. All the other, you could do minor, I guess, but I think because it costs 3,
Yeah,
I think it's minor or Dragoon, and then.
but minor can draw cards, so.
I don't like bouncing Ishtola, but if I had to pick one, I don't like Warp Estinian either, because you're bouncing a backup. So something that Alex can do is Shantoto and then Warp Estinian. That's a perfect curve play. So maybe because of that, you bounce the Ishtola. It's like the lesser of the 3 evils kind of thing, and then bounce minor or Dragoon. Now, and the best part about this play from Bradley is that Sahagin Chief's at 3. So he has good protection against Shantoto.
Yeah, I think I bounce the Estinian, personally.
Okay.
Oh, we're bouncing the Ishtola. That's interesting.
Yep.
Alright, that's fine.
Okay. This Shinryu can attack, right? I believe. No attack?
No, we replayed it this turn. We toured Waka.
Oh yes, you're right. Sorry. We Sahagined it last turn and replayed it this turn.
There's only about 5 seconds it wasn't in play, but technically was not in play at the start of the turn.
So now from Alex's perspective, he drew an Estinian. So he probably wants the Shantoto and Warp, if I had to guess. That's the face-up play that I see. But
yeah.
If he's tapping like this...
Oh, tapping as lightning. Not gonna warp, eh?
Interesting.
He is going for the Shantoto, but not going for the follow-up warp. Seems a little suspect to me. Obviously, we're popping the Sahagin Chief. Now, are we saving the Love 9 or are we saving the Shinryu? Because we're obviously saving Leo.
Yeah, I think I save Shinryu and... Well, I guess how many Love 9s are gone is a big question.
This would be the second.
Yeah.
Because one's at the bottom of our deck.
Oh, okay, so there's one in the deck, and then there's one in damage, and there's one on field. So I think it's Shinryu and Leo.
Yeah.
Because Shinryu gives you more spins.
Yep. I think I'm in there for this. And it looks like Bradley's agreeing.
Okay.
Yep. Alright, seems good. Those are going to hand. Lev's going home.
So, and then there's a pass of the turn.
Huh.
So,
I definitely... Wait, what does he have in hand left? So,
is there
I think I see a Graha, Tia, an Estinian. I don't know what else. Definitely am surprised, like you mentioned, we did not go for the Warp Estinian. Not 100% sure what the play there is. Well, yep, I really like this from Brad. Go ahead
spinning.
and yeah. Well, he's getting the Sahagin before he even plays the Leo. So if Leo has any kind of issues once he is, in play, but the spin's still on the stack, he can respond, save it at any time. That hand trap is very crucial. 4, 5. All right.
Realm or Arnea? I take the Arnea too. I think.
Yeah, it's not very exciting. Yeah, Realm's pretty dead. But the important thing about Aranea is, yep, just like you mentioned, is you can turn the corner with it. It has haste.
We need to win the game because I think. So I'm actually kind of worried about time in the round at this point. It's been a pretty lengthy game, and
deck count's also a thing too.
Yes, I was about to say that. If this actually naturally played out, which maybe it still will, I would bet anything that I think Bradley has less cards in his deck. So.
Oh, by far.
He needs to win the game, and haste is going to be a big player in this.
Yep.
But look at Bradley's field. Like, he had 3 forwards in play last turn. Alex Shantoto, he has 3 forwards in play this turn. Alex can't Shantoto every single turn. So
nope. And here's that Graha Tia, as mentioned.
Deal this turn.
Spending looks like 4. Probably gonna go ahead and get Alice, I assume.
Probably for Ishtola.
Yep.
Graha Tia is a 10k because there's minor in play.
Now the question is, what do we target with the Ishtola, assuming that's what's coming out?
Well, if we're scared of Tidal Wave, Shinryu,
yeah,
but that also feels bad, right?
I think that's the safe call.
Anytime another Lev 9 shows up, this is super scary for Alex. I think if Bradley ever gets his third Lev 9, it's gonna be not great. Also, Alex knows about the Ash.
Yep.
So it's interesting. Yep, there goes the Shinryu. Okay, so.
And if Alex does animate to attack, it's probably a Leo block with a Sahagin bounce, right?
Add to hand, yep.
Yeah. Oh, Shinryu. Oh, goodness.
Yep.
Well,
Bradley drew the Shinryu.
Yeah, Alex definitely glad he got rid of that Shinryu. Doesn't know that his opponent has it, but does indeed have the Shinryu in hand. Be interesting to see how he plans on getting through this board. Graha Tia, like you mentioned, being a 10k, the Y'shtola effect being able to give something first strike. It's a pretty scary spot to be in for both players.
We have perfect info here, but if I'm Bradley, I'm spinning the wheel like 4 times this turn. But yeah, you have to start with Ash on Y'shtola. You have to, because if Alex has Y'shtola special, which he does, he's gonna wipe your board. So right here, Alex might do that. Say give haste. Oh, he let it happen. Okay.
I'm a little surprised we didn't go ahead and pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, we're gonna take some more damage. So we're gonna bounce the Leo. Play the Leo. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not first.
We do have a Quattro Queen.
Yeah, he wants protection.
We could get the Sahagin back.
Okay.
Yep. Or are we getting the Chief back? I think I would opt for the Chief, personally.
Yeah, he got Sahagin back, but interesting for Chief. Ooh, Sephiroth, Lev 9. Oh. I think it's got to be a Lev 9, right? Because we have the Sahagin. So
we can make Graha Tia not a 9k or not a 10k.
Oh, you know what I missed, Sam? I missed Sahagin. There's a Sahagin in play, so the 9k to the board isn't good enough.
Well, it's only to one thing.
It's the 2 forwards.
Oh, it's 2 thing. It's 2 forwards. Yeah, my bad.
I missed that.
Yeah, so that's very relevant.
Yeah. I'm washed up. I haven't played Leo in a while. You know, I need to.
I was
play some
thinking
more
about. I was
games.
thinking it was only saving one.
Yeah. So,
But
okay, there's
saving
11-9.
two and then bouncing the Leo, yeah, it would have just been a waste of a play from Alex. So heads
That's a
up
good-
play
yeah.
to not fire that off. Yeah, I think we're bouncing the minor, making Grahatia turn back into a wimp.
I think I'm going in this turn if I'm Bradley still.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I'm just bouncing this, killing the Graha, and then trying to turn whatever I can sideways, which I think is just the RNA at this point.
It is, yes. And then
I don't think we
a
need
-9,
to spin. Yeah, I don't think we need to spin again.
No,
Yeah, I think
we
we
don't.
leave the Leo out, have the Sahagin in hand, and just say, well, if this isn't good enough, next turn I can minus 9k and then spin Leo one more time. So
he
let's
can't
get
do it
to it.
because he has a Shinryu in his hand. But I also, because I saw that +1, man, I is there a play? Would you play a second Sahagin on the field here to get around Y'shtola?
No.
You don't think so? You the gambler inside of you?
Hell yeah, we gotta spin that. We gotta spin. Sahagins are made for spinning for Leo.
All right, Alex has a pretty good grip here. See an RNA of his own. I think I saw an X Death in his hand too, maybe. No, it's Stinium. He still has that Ignis from a long time ago. There's a chance that we Ignis. I don't know.
Leviathan?
Yeah. This Leviathan's gonna.
Then Brad just Sahagins in response, loses, kills the Ignis. He won't even get the Ignis effect of getting back a forward. So that would be, the Ignis is really dicey. Also kind of heads up that Brad did not put Alex at 5 because he has his own RNA in hand. So that secondary effect not coming into play yet.
I'm very curious if we're just gonna. Okay, there's Ignis. I was like, there is a play of just going for the Y'shtola anyways. And just -9ing the Lev and see what happens. Or sorry, I guess it would be -8. So we would have to -8 something else. It'd be Quattro Queen or Leo. But if we do the Leo, he's just gonna bounce and respond. Yeah, no, that's not good either. Yeah, this is rough for Alex.
Okay, so Ignis is. Brad's gonna go ahead, let the backup be broken. Probably target coming out on Lev.
Shadow Lord?
Target to pull back his Shadow Lord.
That's an expensive card to get back.
Yeah, I mean he still has a good number of cards in hand, some of which are pretty disposable. Yep, looks like the Sahagin's gonna get fired off on Leo here. Lev trigger, kill the Ignis. Lev gonna go down, get the Sahagin or the Shadow Lord back.
So I'm curious if he was doing this
playing
anyways.
the Shadow Lord?
If he was doing this anyways, I think he should have just done it before he got the Shadow Lord back. Interesting. I think he's doing a Lena check, and I think both are gone.
Oh, that'd be unfortunate. However, Thancred's still a thing.
Oh, true. Yep. All right, Shadow Lord. All right, what are you naming? Oh wait, they're
They're
queens.
queens.
They're both queens.
Oh my lord!
Quattro
Quattro
Queen.
Queen downside of Quattro
Oh,
Queen over
no.
Blue Mage.
Okay, the Shadow Lord's worth it.
It's a heads up play. I didn't even
That is
know
a heads up
Quattro
play.
Queen's type,
It
but
makes
that
sense.
makes sense. As soon as we saw both of them go, we knew those queens. Ash no longer a princess. Upgrade to queen on that 6 CP EX.
Yeah.
Oh, and Alex gonna go ahead spin the wheel as Leo. I believe that RNA is untapped.
Yeah, I believe it should be active as well. I think they'll catch it soon. All right, this is for Realm. Exactly Realm.
Oh, that is very unfortunate. Yep, there's RNA coming.
I don't know if there are any monsters left, and if there aren't, I would not search unless it's mandatory to search, because he just put like 4 dead draws to the bottom of his deck.
Yeah.
So
I think he's doing the math right now. I think unless he has already lost out of Mantoys.
yeah, Realm is a May, so I would not shuffle if there are no targets. Also,
Yeah, I think
probably
Adamantoise may be available. I don't know about that. Oh, it looks like he may be asking the judge, do I have to shuffle? Yep.
Yep. So he looks like he's opting to not, which is a good choice by him.
Yep, absolute heads up play.
So the issue here is we don't have a way to replay Leo. So
Shinryu still would shuffle our deck, which would be a little unfortunate. There's definitely been a little bit of kind of drawing the deck in the wrong order here.
Yes.
And we have Theodore, Leo, and Shinryu in hand. Could play Shinryu pitching the Theodore.
I think that's, yep. Oh, maybe not.
But to get what?
Juking us out? Yeah, I don't know. He's been through a lot of the decks, so I don't know what's left. There's no Blue Mage, there's no Quattro Queen, there's no Linos, there's no Lev 9s.
Yeah, he's lost a lot of the Thancreds too. I definitely... Oh, and we did just get notice. Players are in time, so this will be turn 0 on Brad. As he deals damage to Alex, which has no target for an EX burst. Gabaranth. Interesting. Shinryu gonna go ahead, get whatever he wants out of the deck left, and we can see the whole list here. Yeah, he
Ash.
just has... He has Ash, he has a Sephiroth, and a bunch of dead cards. Bunch of cards he wanted are in EX, or damage. And the other chunk are removed from games. So this is definitely a little bit of the awkward side of Leo, where it just, he's only left with some of the duds left in the deck.
Okay, this Shadow Lord is a dark forward and a 10k now, but Ash does take care of it.
Yep. All right, and we'll be on turn 1 on Alex. And I see a Y'shtola in hand. I assume we can get some more Scions out. Could take care of this Ash. Looks like RNA is still in hand. He is at damage 5 now. That will... Looks like what... Oh, no, we're going to go for the Y'shtola first. Or we got Pop. And an important thing... It may not be a pop. I wonder if Alex remembers about the plus 1k from Sahagin. So,
this is -8 right now, right?
Yeah, it's only -8, so I don't know how relevant where exactly this Y'shtola is going to go.
You do have special.
Yeah, looks like that's probably what's happening. So we're probably going to reduce and then special. I mean...
We have 3 9Ks in play, right? Arnea, Ash, Shinryu, so...
Yep. So we...
Shouldn't matter, technically?
Assuming Brad remembers the Sahagin? That is correct.
So... The other thing is, too, is... If he doesn't remember, then this game's probably a double loss, because I don't think either player will be able to win in time.
It's true.
Haste. Alright, special.
Alright, I don't know who Y'shtola targeted, but here comes 9k across to the board. Everybody except for Y'shtola and Alisei are going to take damage. However... Oh no! Oh no! Brad did not remember they had the Sahagin in play. Looks like he's thinking about it.
Oh no.
Maybe he just
He
now
just touched
remembered.
it. He just touched it.
Oh.
No.
So this will be turn 2. Brad will get one more turn, but this is Alex's, or Brad. This is Brad's last turn, and Alex will have one more turn after this. I believe there's no way for Brad to win. However, Alex could still squeak this one out, assuming Brad can play out forward. He could, at least stall and not lose. Of course, that does hurt both of their breakers. Definitely want to have a clear winner or loser in a match. A double loss only hurts both players' tiebreakers. So it'll be interesting to see. Definitely forgetting about the Sahagin there. Brad has left himself without pretty much any way. Like there's very little gas left in the deck at this stage, right? So even if they were to have infinite time, I don't think Brad would be in a situation where he could win.
I agree.
He's
I also
technically
think
not losing, but we'll see what happens
5 or 6
here.
5 or 6 cards in his deck too. I wonder how many are in Alex's deck. But yeah, this is looking like a possible double loss, or maybe a concession will happen. I don't know. Because right now, this is only putting him to 6, and also there's a Quadav. EX Thornton, there's 4 cards in the deck. Not going to use it, probably. Okay, yeah, he will. And then we'll Quadav the Aranea. But I believe this is the last turn, but I'm not quite sure when exactly time was called. Looks like the players are discussing the game state. And there's a handshake. We'll see if we can get the outcome for you guys to see if there is a winner or not. But yeah, that was a very interesting game. Every decision matters in games like this. And Bradley with the Sahagin, I think Alex pointed it out, saying, if I was dead on board, if you just pumped, I could not win. You would have had 2 forwards. I would have taken 2 damage. And good on him for pointing that out. Okay, it looks like Alexander conceded to Bradley in time. So Bradley on Leo is the winner of this game. So I wonder if through Alex's mind, so Alex top forward, I believe, in San Diego, and I think he was playing a Chaos Arc Warrior Light deck, and I'm curious if he looked at the game state and was like, maybe this is a position where I should have lost, and instead of taking a double loss, I'll let you have the win kind of situation. But also, there's a good chance they both make day 2 anyways. So I'm not sure exactly what their records were. They were either 4-1 or better. So if one was 5-0 and one was 4-1, there's a chance they both just make day 2 anyways. So we'll hopefully get to see more of that from more games from both of them. All right. We're gonna step away for a couple minutes until the next round gets prepared, and we'll be back shortly. Stay tuned.
All right, and thanks everybody at home. We do have our last round coming up. Got our two players here, Jared Walters and Carlo Ruiz. Familiar with both of them throughout the day, and we'll be watching this round 7. This will be the last round. I believe both of these players are X1 going into this, so it'll be exciting to see. Anyone X1 is for sure locked for day 2, and I believe and most of the people X2 will still make it, but there will be, potential for some X2s to not make it. Will be interesting to see what happens here. So we will have a Cat 6 versus Mono Lightning matchup here for us. And we have gone over this one a little bit here, but the Cat 6 deck, we feel a little favored, but we've definitely seen the Mono Lightning decks been able to take this out, so it'll be exciting to see what happens in this final round. Was Carlos paired down? I do not believe so.
If this is table 1, there might be one undefeated. I don't believe Jared's undefeated. Carlos might be, but I'm not quite sure. But I will say that from both players' perspectives here, I don't know what their other Swiss pairings were, but the last time we saw Carlos on stream against Mono Lightning, it was against an aggressive version of Mono Lightning. Jared is not playing an aggressive version. And then the last time we saw Jared on stream, and it was against FF6, the FF6 deck did not have water cards, and this one does. So there is a little bit of different texture, and maybe, the tables turn a little bit because Carlos's deck added maybe a little more inconsistencies because there's a third color in there. But maybe also something like Gao and Strago will carry some extra weight just because there's, there's a back attack forward. There's Strago gaining extra card advantage. So maybe the inconsistency isn't as backbreaking as I believe. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are off to the races here. Carlos, just with a pretty standard start, just one backup, got the interceptor out here. Obviously looking to get lockout ASAP. Jared does have a Rude and a Louis Sois. Believe he tutored up an Alphino.
It's an interesting start from Carlos, going 2 fire backups. That to me means he either has no ice backups or no other ice cards to go with the ice backup, or he's reluctant to discard them. And I'm curious. What's the turn going to be this? What's the play going to be this turn?
Yeah, so far from Carlos, I'm not super excited about what we've got going on. We did go ahead and get our lockout, though. Obviously, our main man in this matchup. And here comes Edgar. Edgar gonna get 2 things back. Gonna have our lock trigger. We got Mog 6 and Gao. All right, yep. So we'll go ahead and flip for that lock trigger.
Demon.
Yes. Mog, of course, coming out for free, getting his
lock,
1
lock.
Cat 4 lock. Or not Cat 4, Set 4 lock.
Okay, so 3 4s are in play. Does Jared have a Shinryu?
Ooh, that would be spicy here, for sure. Now, if you did have a Shinryu here, other than Tidal Wave, what would you be going to get? Oh, well, we don't have to worry if Jared has one. He does.
I think a 5th backup, or something like, well, RNA is not good because it doesn't kill anything. It'd probably be a 5th backup or a way to interact with the board. And I think that Tidal Wave is the best way to do that.
Yeah, the 5th backup being a free backup, obviously pretty interesting, but we are going to go ahead, Tidal Wave, clean this up.
Ooh,
Jared says, I don't want to deal with any of this.
Alisei would have been a good pick as well, because there's a Grahatia in the break zone.
Well, it looks like we pitched
the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Oh, we had the backup, and we pitched an Alisei. So
yeah.
That means whatever Jared still has left in hand is gas.
Yeah.
If I'm pitching an Alisei at this stage of the game,
there were no summons pitched. He didn't draw any EX summons, most likely. Wow. Now, Carlos still has a full grip, but like that was a very good turn from Jared. If Carlos is thinking for this long, that makes me feel like he doesn't have an ice backup still. Celeste probably getting the 5 CP lock, yes. And pass the turn. Yeah, this is
this is what Carlos kind of wants to do, though, of to rebuild his board. It's not as fast. Jared able to take advantage of actually untapping with 5 backups to his opponent's 2 and only 1 forward. So definitely looks pretty good for Jared here.
Yeah, if I'm Jared, assuming he has another Alisei here, because I don't think.
I mean, if he doesn't have an Alisei, he's got something better than an Alisei because he pitched one. And,
that's kind of crazy if he doesn't.
Yeah,
but I'm assuming he has another one. I mean, this is the perfect turn for it.
Yeah,
I'll say for Graha for Istola and just get in.
Oh yeah.
Pressure.
Yeah, small commentary on how both players are, keeping their break zones. I really like this from both players. Is Carlos has his tapped, to the side, the opposite direction of his tapped cards, and then Jared keeping his upside down, really helping distinguish those zones. And I really appreciate that from the players, just making sure their zones are nice and pretty easily defined. This was pretty great. Makes it pretty easy to discern what's going on here.
You want to start that conversation? What do you think? What do you think about backups in front? No. We're not going down that route. We're not doing
Sounds
that.
like a travesty.
We're not.
All right, so
we
do have an Alisei, and we're pitching a Y'shtola. Now, are we gonna pull back?
Looks like Graha.
Okay, so we're pulling back Graha, and we're gonna Ama it. Yep.
Okay.
Interesting.
Wait, I think he has the 3rd Alisei.
Oh my gosh, does he?
I think I saw it.
Now, do we have enough cards in hand to still get what we want with a Graha?
Well, there's
if we did have
Alisei.
Too. Yeah, but do we? Y'shtola is pretty good. It does kill this Celeste, right? We take 1 point of damage, get rid of the Celeste.
Okay, we're passing.
Nope. Okay, we're just gonna go ahead. Swing, give our opponent an EX. Unfortunately, Carlos looking like, yep, this is exactly. I needed this. I appreciate you giving me a free card. Edgar, of course, being a humongous pickup here. We know he has a lock in hand. So this is going to be the reload turn for Carlos. Now the question is, assuming if Carlos fully reloads board, can Jared then drop out another Tidal Wave? that would be exactly where he wanted to be.
I think Jared has 2 cards in his hand, and that would kind of make sense if he had a third LSA and didn't play it. There's 2 things that come to mind. One, I don't know if he wants to dump his hand, right? He might not want to. And then 2, because you go to 0 cards. 2, the other card is a light card, which is also a good scenario for him because Tidal Wave is, like, imagine his last 2 cards being Shinryu Alice. Just that's that's very good. So we'll see. Like, yeah, you don't have to be as assertive playing the Alice just because Carlos is playing a slower game as well. So you may as well just wait to go to your turn, activate all your cards, and just, save a card that way. Now you because you didn't play it the following turn, you missed out on some damage or whatever. But I think that's fine.
Yeah,
it's okay to miss out on damage for card advantage in this kind of scenario because Jared's in a really good spot to overwhelm Carlos with card advantage.
Yeah.
You can tell these last few turns, Carlos has taken a little while. You can tell he's struggling just because I feel like his color situation is a problem here. I think he either still doesn't have an ice backup, or I feel like he's low on ice cards in general. I feel like the last 2 games we saw him, it was pretty smooth sailing. I don't think he struggled this much at all in the last 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely, there's one thing to be said about being able to play the Cat 6 deck when you're kind of in the driver's seat, and we've seen Carlos rebuild a few times in some of the other games, but this is probably the biggest card disparity that we've seen. Jared did get to 5 backups. Carlos does not have his 2 colors. He's definitely in the diciest spot we've seen in any of his matches. Carlos was definitely able to put out a lot of pressure in some of these other games, but his pressure is knocked away. Did get his Setzer passing with 2 backups open. So I gotta imagine those are his only 2 ice cards. So I wonder if an obvious line he was probably thinking about was pitch the Celeste, play the Lock, play Edgar, pull some stuff back. But
I think taking a turn off is very wise from Carlos here. I think he really needs to get this Setzer down, and he's just losing too many resources by pitching all of his ice cards. And like Saban's a really good card, but a lot of these ice cards are the way he either like wins the game or the way he gains card advantage. Edgar, while it gains card advantage, it's at the end of the day, it's a 1 CP card, right? Like it's not it's not Lock. So okay, I'm gonna attack with Shinryu, and I don't recall what the other forward was, but I think it's Brave. Oh, it's the Warped Justinian. Sorry. Justinian came into play this turn. The Phil Thanos also is a... Jared's looking in.
It's a pretty big stop, yeah.
Again, so Jared discarded an Odin that had to be part of his draw step, right? Like, just by the way he's been playing this game, that had to be part of his draw step. So I feel like he has another Alice in his hand, and either he had the Fel Thanos and didn't want to discard it, or he has a Shinryu. So again, still imagine if the last 2 cards in hand is Alice and Shinryu. Like, if that's the case, this game looks over. I'm pretty sure there's an Alice in his hand. Okay, this is the big turn for Carlos. but the Fel Thanos might have taken over the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely think Jared was in a pretty driver's spot of the game, but really, kind of putting a the doornail into the game potentially. Be excited to see if Carlos can actually finagle any way out of this spot. But Jared being at 0 damage is like the exact opposite of what we've seen in all these other rounds with Carlos. Just being able to take care of the pressure as soon as it was applied has made it so Jared's in a really good spot this game.
So, if the Smog gets played, which it does, he's going to trigger Lock, but he's not going to draw a card off of Mog. Okay. Oh, and the Lock missing. It's pretty big here.
Ooh, yeah.
Haste on the Mog. So Celeste can attack and Mog can attack. This still doesn't seem very positive though, right? Like you can't freeze two things. You have to pull something back with Celeste. Celeste or Lock just entered play this turn. Yeah. And if you choose to freeze, then Fel Thanos has to be chosen.
And then we'll get negated.
He pointed to it. Did he? But now he's picking up his break zone. Okay. So I think he's gonna pull back a card. Pull back a Strago. Okay. And that's a Strago that bounces a forward. If you have another forward. Yep. Still in that spot, right? I mean, Alisei or Shinryu. Either of them, I think, win the game here. Can't quite see his hand.
He's thinking, though.
Yeah, there's a chance that Carlos has Amaterasu and can play it, right? But
All right, we saw one go to the bin. Looks like
Cheers.
Jared's gonna double check.
I bet you that's what he's looking for right now.
Yep, absolutely. Think you called it.
Interesting. There's a lot of really good cards that Jared could have here. Even just the removal spell. Okay, there's the Alisei. So Alisei for Ishtola. Remove. Oh, for Graha, sorry, Graha for Ishtola. That's better. Remove the Lock, and then haste some people, and should be game. I don't think there's any EX bursts that interacts with combat in the FF6 deck.
Nope,
Now-
this should be knocking it out here.
Carlos could technically have Gao, I suppose, but even that's probably not gonna save him from this.
I mean, it's may save him a turn, but I don't think it's winning him this game.
Yeah. Fel Thanos. And Jared playing cautiously here. That's game.
Yep, and Jared will take it down. Of course, Carlos commenting on the Shinryu definitely was a big factor in this game. Just being able to knock out, you know, the forwards that were in play, really bought Jared the time he needed, sub those backups, get to a spot where he's able to really get it in good. Congrats to Jared. Definitely you'll see him day 2. I believe we'll see Carlos day 2. We'll see X2. Be exciting to see if he can make it. Being a new player, piloting a great deck. Best of luck to both of them in their tiebreakers, but I don't think Jared will need it. I think he'll be good to go with the X1 record.
I'm very curious if Jared had a Shinryu there those last few turns when I was kind of calling it. I'm after seeing how this game planned out, I'm very confident that he had the Alice, just by the way he was. I won't say throwing them away, but basically throwing them away. Right? He discarded the first one, played the second one, kind of not caring what happened to it. So that kind of gave me the impression watching the game that he had the third one, which was backbreaking. So, and because he didn't play it, makes me feel like he could have had another Shinryu as well. So I'm just very curious about it. And
yeah, what was still going on in that grip?
Yeah, like Jared, he played well, he drew well, and showed us what the deck was really capable of. Unfortunately for Carlos, he struggled a little bit there, but we'll see him day 2, and he had a good day 1 for sure. He showed us some good feature matches earlier today. And we'll hopefully get to see more from these players later.
Yep, and we should. I don't know how many more matches we have wrapping up at the moment. Well, we should have our top cut to you before too terribly long. Looks like these players have had enough. Didn't want I don't know if we asked for a friendly game. It was a little bit more drawn out than some of the other games. I'm sure after 7 long rounds, players are very tired. Both of these players, of course, already gave us some friendly matches. It was very nice of them. Great seeing both of them. And hope they are having a pretty good event. But we should be here with your day 2 top 16 fairly soon. We'll get as much of a tournament report as we get the information in and see who has been our top dog for Swiss.
Okay, so looks like I think we were using the software for Square Enix that required ticketing, and the usernames are a little wonky, so it's a little hard to tell if you don't know what everybody's usernames are. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna wait for top 16 to cut, and then we are gonna translate those names into actual names instead of usernames, and then we'll announce it then. And we should probably have the decks on FF decks sometime tonight as well. If not, then tomorrow morning. So stay tuned for that. But for now, we'll be taking a break.
Yeah, looks like we still have a couple more games finishing up in the final round, and then as soon as those are wrapped up, a little bit of management time while they get everything sorted for Top Cut, and then we'll head back to you with those Top Cut names, or at least usernames.
Yeah. All right, looks like we got our top 16 here for the Portland Materia Cup. Let's see. So it looks like at the end of the day there were 0 undefeateds, but here are the top 16 players. I do know that a few X2s did not make it, but all these players will be playing in day 2 competition. This post will most likely be on the Facebook page, the NA page, and there will also most likely be deck lists posted there soon as well. So keep on the lookout for that. And it looks like a lot of these players already have an invite to nationals, so a lot of this stuff is going to also get passed down. 4 of these players are going to get invites to Nats, and they are the final invites. So it looks like I know some of the lists here. I know first place was Leo, second is the FF6 deck, third is Mono Lightning. I know Alec McGee is on FF6 also. Alex Early, we saw him on stream. He was on Earth Lightning Scions. But I'm not quite sure about anybody else. But yeah, everyone, hope to see you tune into the stream tomorrow. And we'll continue on with the top cut of the event. All right, everyone have a good night. Thank you.